Number 10. The land where order meets wilderness. Welcome to Sweden, a country that somehow manages to be both ultra-modern and anciently calm at the same time. Spanning about 450,295 square kilometers, it's the fifth largest nation in Europe, but home to only 10.6 million people. Sweden's landscape feels almost unreal. Forests cover nearly 69% of the country, that's roughly 2,860 square kilometers of trees, while lakes make up over 9% of the land area. No wonder locals joke that in Sweden you can get healthy just by breathing. Winters are long and biting cold summers flash by like a dream, yet nature remains breathtakingly alive, a mix of endless green mirror-smooth waters and skies that never quite go dark. Economically, Sweden punches far above its weight. With a GDP of around $660 billion, 2025 estimated it's home to global giants like Volvo, IKEA, Spotify, H&M, and Minecraft. Yes, that little blocky game that took over the world was born here. They even invented the three-point seatbelt, a Swedish creation that has saved millions of lives since 1959. So what's behind Sweden's quiet success? Maybe it's the mindset. Despite belonging to the European Union, Sweden still uses its own currency, the Swedish krona SEK, and the country has nearly said goodbye to cash altogether. From your morning latte to your train ticket, a single card swipe or QR scan is all you need. And beneath the polished surface lies a national philosophy called Jantelagen, or the Law of Jante. It means roughly, don't think you're better than anyone else. It's not a written law, but an unspoken code that shapes how Swedes live modestly respectfully, without bragging or loud competition. That humility keeps their society calm, equal, and quietly confident. So buckle up, we're heading north to explore the land of midnight sun snow-covered forests, Viking spirits, and design perfection. And before we go, tell me, which country are you watching from right now? If you had the chance to live in Sweden for 1 year, would you do it? Comment yes or no below. Number 9. Culture shocks you'll face in Sweden. If you ever move to Sweden, prepare yourself. Not for the cold, but for silence. There's a Swedish saying, talking is silver, silence is golden. And trust me, they mean it. Swedes are masters of peaceful quiet. They'd rather listen than talk, observe than interrupt. When they do speak, they get straight to the point. No small talk, no sugarcoating. I once worked with a Swedish manager for almost 2 months before realizing I didn't even know his name. He never introduced himself, never chatted, just nodded, said hedge, hi, and went back to work with his headphones on. And that's totally normal. Take the bus, and you'll see the same thing. Everyone sits alone, staring out the window in zen-like silence. If the bus is full, someone might sit next to you, but the moment a seat opens up, they'll quietly move away again. Don't take it personally. It's not your smell. It's just Sweden. Then there's fika, the one thing that breaks the silence. A coffee break that's more like a ritual. It's not a grab-and-go latte like in the US, nor a tea ceremony like in Japan. It's about slowing down, sharing a moment, and reconnecting over hot coffee and cinnamon buns. In homes, fika is a warm welcome. At work, it's sacred. A break to breathe, chat. And remember that life isn't all deadlines. Refuse a fika invitation, and you might just offend someone without realizing it. But the real shock comes from how precise Swedes are. Ask them when they're taking winter vacation, and they won't say in November. They'll say week 46. Ask about their apartment, and they'll reply 39, meaning 39 square meters. Their ID numbers? Exactly 10 digits. Even when you ask their age, young Swedes often answer with their birth year instead of the number. Accuracy here is an art form. That attention to detail even extends to family terms. Grandparents aren't just grandma or grandpa. They're more, mother's mother, morfar, mother's father, farmer, father's mother, and farfar, father's father.
Grandmother on the mother's side is mormor, which just translates mother's mother. Grandfather on the mother's side would be morfar, which is mother's father. Grandfather would be morfar, and grandfather on the father's side would be farfar, which would be father's father.
4 words for 2 people, because clarity matters. And let's not forget lagom, that quiet philosophy of just enough. Not too much, not too little. Balance in everything. It shapes how Swedes work, eat, spend money, and even decorate their homes. The idea is simple. Happiness comes from moderation, not excess. Even their language reflects that spirit. You'll hear tack everywhere, a single word that means both please and thank you, depending on tone. Swedes are also incredibly honest, sometimes brutally so. They won't flatter you to be polite, and they expect you to be just as direct. Hungry? Say so. Interested in someone? Tell them. They respect truth over pretense. It might feel cold at first, but once you earn a Swede's trust, you've got a friend for life. They don't say much, but when they care, they mean it. And if you think they're strict about rules, think again. Sweden is also one of the few places on Earth where you can walk, ski, camp, or even drive through most public land freely. It's called allemansrätten, the right of public access. As long as you don't trespass on private property or harm nature, the country is your backyard. If you've ever lived somewhere that gave you cultural shock, tell me, what was the strangest custom you had to adapt to? Number 8, a country known for its beautiful women. If you've ever scrolled through photos of Sweden, you might have had the same thought many travelers do. It feels like people here stepped straight out of a Scandinavian design magazine. Swedish women are often tall, naturally elegant, with fair skin, light hair, and eyes ranging from icy blue to deep forest green. But honestly, what makes them unforgettable isn't just the appearance, it's the mindset behind it. Sweden is one of the most gender-equal societies in the world, and girls grow up learning independence from an early age. They travel, study abroad, build careers, and don't wait around for someone to save them. That confidence shows up clearly in dating culture. Splitting the bill is normal making. The first move isn't unusual, and equality isn't negotiable. It's expected. At first, that independence can feel distant, but it's not coldness, it's quiet confidence. A lot of that comes from jantelagen, the cultural idea that no one should think they're better than anyone else. Humility runs deep here, even in relationships, and arrogance is one of the fastest ways to lose interest. Here's the interesting part, though. While Swedish women are strong and self-reliant, they still appreciate simple, sincere gestures. Flashy compliments and over-the-top bravado don't work here. Authenticity does. Listen when she speaks. Be respectful. Be real. If you're in Stockholm during summer, inviting her for a fika coffee and a cinnamon bun might be the most Swedish move you can make. It's relaxed, cozy, no pressure, and surprisingly, that's how many love stories here begin. So what's the real secret? Be genuine, be kind, and never act like you're above her. She'll see through it instantly. If you want to win over a Swedish girl, drop a number 8 in the comments. Number 7. Sweden has to import trash. After meeting the calm, confident women of Sweden, let's talk about something far less glamorous: trash. And yes, this sounds crazy at first. Sweden actually imports trash from other countries. Back in 2012, Sweden's waste-to-energy plants became so efficient that they literally ran out of garbage to burn. The average Swede produces about 460 kilograms, around 1,000 pounds, of waste per year. But that still wasn't enough to keep the system running at full capacity. So instead of slowing down, Sweden started importing waste, around 1.4 to 1.6 million short tons annually from countries like Norway, the UK, and Italy. And here's the twist. Those countries pay Sweden to take it. The reason this works is simple. Sweden recycles almost everything. About 99% of household waste is reused or recovered, and only 1% ends up in landfills. Roughly half is recycled into new materials: paper, plastics, food waste turned into fertilizer or biogas. Even unused medicine returned safely to pharmacies. The remaining 52% is converted into electricity and district heating, warming nearly 1 million homes and cutting about 2.3 million tons of CO2 each year. Recycling here isn't just policy, it's culture. Kids learn to sort waste in kindergarten. Garbage trucks run on biogas. In cities like Stockholm and Gothenburg, underground vacuum systems pull trash straight from buildings to sorting centers. Supermarkets use reverse vending machines that refund you for bottles and cans, unless you crush them too much, in which case the machine refuses to cooperate. Some public bins even sing when you throw something away, because apparently, cleaning up can be entertaining. Step inside a recycling plant, and it feels like a scene from a sci-fi movie. Giant mechanical claws lift mountains of waste, while sensors and lasers sort materials with incredible precision. Automation does most of the heavy work, but humans still oversee the process. The system runs so smoothly that other countries now study Sweden's model to replicate it. Of course, even a clean paradise has flaws. In March 2025, a waste management executive was sentenced to 6 years in prison for secretly burying more than 200,000 tons of industrial waste, a reminder that no system is perfect. Still, the bigger picture is clear. With forests covering nearly 69% of the country, electric vehicles growing in number, public transport powered by renewables, and a national goal to become carbon neutral by 2045, Sweden isn't just managing waste, it's redesigning the future. Number 6. Sweden's strangest foods. Swedish cuisine may not be loud or spicy, but when it comes to unusual dishes, it definitely knows how to surprise. Let's begin with the most iconic dish, Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar. These small, perfectly seasoned meatballs are served with mashed potatoes, creamy gravy, and tangy lingonberry jam. It might sound like an odd combination, but the balance of sweet, savory, and creamy flavors makes it deeply comforting and beloved worldwide. Moving into more unusual territory, there's blood pudding. Blood pudding made from pig's blood, rye flour, and spices. Sliced and pan-fried until crispy, it's commonly served with lingonberry jam and is a nostalgic comfort food for many Swedes, even appearing regularly on school lunch menus. Another traditional curiosity is lutefisk, dried white fish soaked in lye and water until it becomes soft and jelly-like. The process gives it a translucent look that can startle first-timers, but it remains a cherished holiday dish, typically served with potatoes, peas, and white sauce. For a visual twist, meet smörgåstårta, a sandwich cake that looks like a dessert but is made of layered bread filled with shrimp, salmon, eggs, mayonnaise, and cold cuts, then decorated like a festive pastry. It's a centerpiece at parties and family celebrations, even if slicing into a cake filled with seafood feels a bit surreal at first. Then comes the ultimate challenge, surströmming, often called the smelliest food in the world. This fermented Baltic herring is famous, or infamous, for its powerful odor, often compared to a mix of rotten eggs, spoiled dairy, and burning rubber. The fish are caught in late spring, brined for about 20 hours, then fermented in barrels. Fermentation begins within a day, and producers leave space in containers to prevent bursting from gas buildup. Once canned, the process continues, causing the tins to bulge, a signature trait of surströmming. Because of the pressure and smell, airlines ban it, and even locals prefer opening it outdoors. Rounding out the list is ragmunk, a crispy potato pancake typically served with pork and lingonberries. It perfectly reflects Swedish food philosophy. Hearty, practical, and built to sustain people through long, cold winters. After tasting everything from comforting meatballs to room-clearing fermented herring, you might think Sweden has reached the peak of culinary weirdness. But the story doesn't end there. The Swedes took their fascination with unusual foods even further by creating an entire museum dedicated to them. Number 5. The Museum of Disgusting Food. Welcome to Malmö, home to one of the strangest museums on Earth, the Disgusting Food Museum. This isn't a place for art lovers or history buffs. It's a place where your stomach is the one being tested. Opened in 2018, the museum covers about 400 square meters, roughly 4,300 square feet, and displays around 80 dishes from 35 countries, each chosen for one reason. People somewhere in the world find them absolutely revolting. And yes, everything here is real. No replicas, no filters, no mercy. The space is divided into 2 parts, one for looking and smelling, and another for tasting, if you dare. According to the museum's founder, Andreas Ahrens, each item was chosen based on 4 things: smell, taste, texture, and story. His goal? To prove that disgust is not universal. What makes you gag might be someone else's comfort food. Walk through the exhibits and you'll see culinary nightmares from every corner of the planet. There's bat soup from Guam, baby mice wine from China, and casu marzu from Italy, a cheese crawling with live maggots that Guinness World Records once called the world's most dangerous cheese. You'll find balut, the fertilized duck egg beloved in Vietnam and the Philippines, but feared by most tourists, and kiviak from Greenland, hundreds of seabirds fermented inside a sealskin for months. To the Inuit, it's a winter delicacy. To most visitors, it's a horror story you can smell before you see. The museum even throws in a few cultural curveballs. Things like root beer from the US or Vegemite from Australia, completely normal at home, but enough to make many foreign visitors gag. The point isn't to mock, but to make you think. What's disgusting is all about where you were born. Tickets cost around 75 to 80 Swedish kroner, about 7 to 8 US dollars, a small price to question your entire sense of taste. Visitors walk out laughing, cringing, or slightly nauseated, but always thinking deeper about food, culture, and how far we'll go in the name of flavor. Number 4. Unusual habits you won't believe are real. At first glance, Sweden feels calm, structured, almost perfectly balanced. But spend a little time here, and you'll start noticing small cultural details that make you wonder, is this actually normal? Take parenting, for example. Sweden was the first country in the world to ban corporal punishment in 1979, and even a light spanking can technically be reported. Raising children is built on dialogue, eye contact, and emotional intelligence, rather than fear. Parents often kneel down to speak at eye level, and with free education, healthcare, transport discounts, and free access to many museums, including Junibacken in Stockholm, inspired by Astrid Lindgren, it's clear how seriously child welfare is taken. Then there's Lördagsgodis, or Saturday candy. Since the 1950s, children have been allowed to enjoy sweets freely, but only on Saturdays, after research connected sugar to tooth decay. Instead of banning candy, Sweden limited it to one joyful day a week. Even now, the average Swede eats around 15 to 16 kilograms, 33 to 35 pounds, of candy per year, one of the highest rates in the world. Some laws have been equally surprising. Until January 2023, public dancing required a permit, even in small bars. After years of criticism, the rule was finally repealed, meaning Swedes can now officially dance without paperwork. Social behavior can also feel different. Swedes may seem reserved at first, but once you're part of their circle, the warmth is genuine and long-lasting. Hugs are common among friends, and in some cities, close friends say goodbye with a soft 3-kiss pattern. Left, right, left. Another detail that often surprises outsiders is the relaxed attitude toward the human body. In Sweden, nudity isn't automatically sexualized. It's seen as natural. In saunas, lakes, or changing rooms, modesty rules are minimal, and comfort often matters more than strict dress codes. This sometimes fuels viral rumors like, "Swedes don't wear underwear," but the truth is far less dramatic. There's simply no cultural taboo either way. What you choose to wear is considered a personal decision, not a moral one. That body-positive mindset ties closely to Sweden's broader values of equality and natural living. And what about the viral Swedengate rumor? The idea that guests aren't offered dinner. It's partly true, but the context matters. Traditionally, families avoided feeding visiting children out of respect for other parents' mealtime routines. Today, it's rare, mostly among older generations. But when the story resurfaced online in 2022, the internet reacted with shock and a little hunger. Sweden may look predictable from the outside, but once you're here, you realize its quiet rules are part of what makes it so uniquely Swedish. Number 3. Why Sweden is called a happy country. When people say Sweden is one of the happiest countries on earth, it's not marketing, it's structure. Happiness here is built into daily life, from the moment you're born to the day you retire. It begins with family policy. When a baby arrives, fathers immediately receive 10 days of paid leave, and parental benefits continue long after. Until a child starts school, parents can legally reduce their workday to 6 hours instead of 8. If a child gets sick, parents can take paid leave anytime until the child turns 12. On top of that, families receive about $125 per month per child under 16. No complicated paperwork attached. For many parents, that alone removes enormous pressure. The safety net continues through life. Education is fully funded through age 18. If you struggle to find work, the government helps with job placement or unemployment benefits. Work culture doesn't glorify burnout. Some workplaces even experiment with 6-hour days to favor productivity over exhaustion. And retirement comes with one of the world's stronger pension systems, meaning old age isn't something people fear as much. All of this relies on trust and taxes. High earners can pay over 60% in income tax, yet resentment remains relatively low because people clearly see the return. In 2016, Sweden recorded a $9.5 billion budget surplus, nearly half from higher-than-expected tax contributions. Citizens were, quite literally, paying more than required. Of course, happiness here isn't flawless. In recent years, Sweden has faced rising gang-related violence, social tension, and economic strain. Around 15% of the population is at risk of poverty, with inflation and living costs hitting vulnerable families hardest. Some now rely on organizations like the Swedish Red Cross, where unsold supermarket food is resold at reduced prices. Then in 2024, Sweden made a historic decision by officially joining NATO, ending more than 200 years of neutrality. The move sparked national debate and raised questions about security, identity, and the country's future direction. Number 2. The cost of living in Sweden. Now let's talk about the thing that shocks visitors even more than the winter: the prices. Yes, Sweden is often ranked among the most expensive countries in the world, and that reputation isn't exaggerated. Housing is where most people feel it first. In Stockholm, a one-bedroom apartment in the city center typically costs 14,000 to 20,000 Swedish kroner per month, about 1,300 to 1,850 US dollars. Gothenburg and Malmö are slightly cheaper, but still high by European standards. On top of that, demand far exceeds supply, and locals sometimes wait months or even years in municipal housing queues. Groceries aren't cheap either. A single person usually spends 800 to 1,000 Swedish kroner, $75 to $95 per week if cooking at home. Eating out adds up quickly. A simple lunch runs 150 to 200 Swedish kroner, $14 to $18, while a mid-range dinner costs 350 to 450 Swedish kroner, $32 to $40. Alcohol hits hardest. A beer at a bar can cost 90 to 110 Swedish kroner, $8 to $10, partly because alcohol is sold through the state-run Systembolaget, which closes early and doesn't open on Sundays. Transportation feels more reasonable. A monthly public transit pass in cities like Stockholm or Gothenburg costs about 1,100 Swedish kroner, $100, and covers buses, metro, trams, and even some ferries. Gasoline remains expensive at around 22 to 24 Swedish kroner per liter, $8 to $8.50 per gallon. So many people rely on trains and bicycles instead of cars. Utilities, heating, electricity, water, and high-speed internet together usually total 1,700 to 2,200 Swedish kroner, $150 to $200 per month for an average apartment. Now here's the part that changes the perspective. Healthcare is universal, and a doctor's visit typically costs under $12, with an annual cap of about 1,400 Swedish kroner, $130. Education is free for EU/EEEA students, and childcare is heavily subsidized, meaning parents pay only a few hundred Swedish kroner per month. Taxes are high, sometimes over 60% for top earners, but in return people get safety, clean streets, reliable public services, and a strong work-life balance. It's a system where you pay more consistently up front, but worry less later. So here's the real question. Would you rather keep more money in your pocket today or trade some of it for long-term peace of mind? Number 1. Festivals that reveal the real Sweden. If you want to understand Sweden, do not start with museums. Follow the festivals. It all begins with Walpurgis Night, or Valborg, on April 30th. Across Sweden, especially in university towns like Uppsala and Lund, people gather around massive bonfires. Centuries ago, the fire was meant to scare away witches and evil spirits. Today, it's more about burning away winter itself. Students see it as the unofficial start of summer. Families come out to sing choral songs, wave Swedish flags, and warm their hands by the flames. The night feels slightly cold, slightly chaotic, but full of relief. Winter is finally over. A few weeks later comes the emotional opposite. Midsummer. Celebrated in countryside fields and city parks, people dress in white and linen, decorate their hair with wildflowers, and dance in circles to folk songs that look playful but carry centuries of tradition. There are no big stages, no fireworks. The power of midsummer lies in simplicity, nature, and togetherness. For many Swedes, this is the most important day of the year. As summer fades, Sweden shifts mood rather than stopping the celebrations. In August, crayfish parties take over gardens and lakeside homes. This is not a public festival, but a social ritual. Tables are covered with paper lanterns, guests wear silly hats, and everyone eats crayfish by hand while singing short drinking songs. It's loud, messy, and intentionally unserious, a rare moment where Swedes allow themselves to be openly goofy. And finally, in the far north, nature takes over completely. The Northern Lights in Swedish Lapland isn't an organized festival at all, yet it feels like one. People gather quietly in the snow, wrapped in heavy winter clothing, and waiting for the sky to move. So if you enjoyed this journey through Sweden, give the video a like, subscribe for more stories from around the world, and don't forget to share it with someone who loves discovering new cultures.